I think we have a quorum, so we will start. It is 5:32, August 27th, and I call to order the Hamden-Wilbraham Regional School District School Committee meeting. As per Governor Baker's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 20, the public will not be allowed to physically access this school committee meeting. Members of the committee and the public will be able to access the meeting via remote meeting technology, such as Zoom technology, and the necessary access information will be posted prior to the meeting. Could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Bill, could you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So one of the things that we used to do and have kind of gotten away from it, and I'd like to kind of start it again, is, and I'll start it and maybe we can take turns doing it at meetings, is to just select a few of the points of order on our operating norms for school committee members. We all got them when we first arrived. And we'll just start with how we govern, and I'm just going to read the first three. And then I'm going to ask if someone would take that responsibility the next meeting to pick a couple, one, two, maybe three. How we govern. We will make every reasonable effort to protect the integrity and promote the positive image of the district, one another, and the school committee as a body. We will recognize that the primary functions of the Hamden-Wilbraham Regional School Committee is to establish policies by which schools are to be administered, to review and approve the district budget, and to select and evaluate and set the compensation for the superintendent. We understand the importance of subcommittees, and we and the superintendent agree to utilize them to focus on specific topics in depth and to prepare for presentations, deliberations, and possible action by the school committee. And I picked that one particularly today because we are going to be digging deep into policy. And so we start with old business, the revised 2021 school calendar. We put that on hold and we will need to relook at it for a vote.
I make a motion to accept the proposed calendar for the 2020 and 2021 school year.
Do I have a second? Discussion.
Yep.
Yeah.
So sorry, we're having just a little technical difficulty here for a second. Thanks for the help on that. So what I want to share with you is the calendar that the hybrid calendar that we showed you last time. Kate, are you able to bring that up for them? Yeah. And that's for the months of August, September, October, November, and December. This is, like I said earlier, it's a hybrid model. If I could just illustrate that for you. Cheryl, if you just load yours.
I'm trying to.
I won't hear the reverberation. What's that? Cheryl's muted? Okay. I'm hearing them out of yours though.
No.
Okay. So what you're looking right now in front of you is the hybrid model for our calendar, where it illustrates where our start date for our teachers is the 26th. As you're aware that the commissioner has designated 10 days before school starts for professional learning. We've already had our first two, which I'll talk to you a little bit later on in our presentation. So again, it's the 10 days starting at August 26th. If you look at that, and everything's illustrated on the left-hand side as well too, our first day back of school for grades 1 through 12 is September 10th. And let me just be really clear, and we'll be sending out communication about this. I know schools are doing individually, but we'll be sending out as a district-wide. That's for all students. So cohort B, and all on the left-hand side, and those notifications came out yesterday, were the ones that will be coming physically into our buildings on September 10th. But all students, whether a cohort A or remote, are going to be reporting to school on that September 10th, which is that Thursday. So as you see, then we have our first day of kindergarten, cohort B, starting on the 17th. And then again, on the left-hand side, the first day of kindergarten, cohort A, is there as well too. A couple of things that you need to be looking at. So a couple of things that we put in place is the 23rd of September is our professional day, and that's the review, right? And that's where we're gonna put a pause and say, okay, for those first week of school, how are things going? What's going right? What do we need to revisit? So that will be an important day for us, always looking to gauge and see the successes and where we need to move forward as well too. The other thing that I want you to notice also is that October 21st is another professional learning day, and that's going to be another opportunity for us to say, okay, how are things going? What additional professional learning do we need? That's a very important day for us as well. We've designated that day, even when we're doing our presentation, as the day that we would revisit and see where things are in terms of if we need to pivot, we use that word, to go fully remote, or if we need to pivot because we're looking to go back full face-to-face. The other professional learning day, if you're aware of, is in the blue, is on November 3rd, and that's election day. And that's always a day that we do not have school because, you know, of the amount of traffic that will be taking place in our building. Then you're looking at, there's no school on November 11th, which is a holiday. And then we look at the Thanksgiving break for the 25th through the 27th of Thanksgiving break. I pushed that all the way out to December as well, and that will be of the 24th on. Those days will be our winter break. So again, this is all our hybrid calendar. In the past, you were given the full calendar that we voted on last year. There are some things that we needed to change and wanted to put in place to, if we needed to make some changes to our calendar for the school year. But what I think the most important thing on this calendar that people need to be aware of, and we want to be able to get that out to the community, either obviously tonight publicly, but most importantly in the communication tomorrow, is this first day of school for all of our students, minus pre-K and K, is September 10th.
Well, before that first day, will there be any way to have those transition grades come and see their new school? You know, the first graders to second grade, the fourth graders,
So,
the third graders.
I know a
and
lot
the
of
high
principals are
school.
doing that right now, and they're working on that at all levels. They're also
Hey, Al,
creating
this is
videos that people can
Sean.
come in, but
For
they're also
people
arranging
on Zoom.
opportunities for those visits to be happening.
And I think
Hey,
it's
Al.
really important
Al, for people on Zoom, they can't hear you asking the questions,
freshmen.
Cheryl.
Feel comfortable.
You're on mute, Cheryl. You're on mute.
I think it's really important for the freshmen, particularly, to come and find their locker, see if they can open it, see if they can remember where it is.
And so just also appreciate that in some of our schools, we're not even going to be using lockers, Cheryl, because of the COVID. But yes, that is happening. Those communications are coming out from individual principals where they're going to give, either through video or in person, opportunities for kids to come in and see what's taking place for our school. So the most important thing is, like I said, if we can vote on this tonight to be able to give this information out to parents. I think everyone's sort of chomping at the bit to know, even though we put this out earlier, it just needs an official vote on this as well.
Okay, well, we've had a motion and a second. Is there more
I
discussion?
just have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I know that this may be a minute issue. I know that this may be a minute issue, but what do we do about snow days? So I know that in the past, the calendar's always kind of accounted for 5 days.
Yeah.
And I know with the commissioner's change to the calendar of 10 professional days loaded up front.
Yeah.
What is the plan for snow days?
Yeah. So that's a whole different conversation that's happening as a state. What we're looking at, what we're hearing right now, there might not be need for any more snow days, right? When we're able to learn and teach remotely. We did not put those days in here for the snow days in there. We're just looking at this calendar right now.
I just take into account the fact that, so we had a bad windstorm a couple weeks ago,
Yep.
knocked half of, if not most of
Yep.
Wilbraham out.
Yep.
So then I don't know how we account or attribute for that.
So,
Knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen again, but
so the
if
one
there was
thing,
a power outage that created the problem for more than 3 days.
Yep. So the one thing that we have to do right now that the commissioner has said is instead of doing 180 school days, we're able to do 170. So the conversations coming up with the commissioner and with superintendents is like, so, you know, we had blizzard bags, right? And that was allowed for a period of time, and then we put it into the blizzard bags. So I think once we're getting through this, the conversation is, especially districts that are going fully remote, you know, is there such thing as a snow day anymore? And because they're able to do that work from home, can we count that as a day? So that's part of the conversation that's going to be happening, in particular with districts that are going hybrid as well.
He's got a little bit of a tail between his legs on this, I think. Seeing as how he was so adamant about getting rid of the blizzard bags and getting rid of alternative structured learning days, only to find out that he's depending on them as a lifeline now.
Any other comments about revised calendar? Ready for the vote? It's a roll call vote. Dr. Bontempi?
Aye.
Mrs. Boudreaux?
Aye.
Mrs. Merzian?
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Kiernan?
Aye.
Ms. Ryan?
Aye.
Me? Aye. It is passed.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Bill did. Thanks.
Moving on to
I did.
old business. No, that was old business. Subcommittee report. We're going to be now going through the second reading.
So Cheryl, through the chair, I'm sorry. So part of the revised 2021 school calendar vote, can I also sort of put that as the superintendent's report so I can just give a little bit of an update as well too? Are we okay with that?
Absolutely.
I know it's on the agenda, but I'm going to sort of coach that in there with underneath news and revised calendar. So a couple things. So the first thing is, as you're well aware of, yesterday at 7 o'clock, we released the cohorts, went out to families in terms of cohort A, cohort B, and so on. That information was released. Parents were able to get it on the parent portal. I just can't stress enough how delicate of a balance that was in doing that. You might see on some towns, in some communities, did the cohorts and they just did A through G and A through Z, H through Z, and sort of went in that direction. We really were strategic. The principals, directors, Julie did amazing work in getting these cohorts together and making sure there was a balance. The work is still being done, right? So things that our principals are dealing with individually as well too, in terms of making these cohorts exist as well too. It's just such a complete delicate balance and making sure that we have the family members that are all going to be involved across our entire district, as well as making sure for transportation wise, as well as making sure that we have those balances in those classrooms, that we're not exceeding those numbers. So just know that, and the work that's been done is unbelievable. Still, there's incredible amounts of work to making sure that we do that. So today, I had the opportunity today, I did a sort of a question and answer. So I started out with at Miniature High School, and I worked my way through all 6 schools today, just to go through a question and answer any questions they might have directed to myself. Terry Brand was there, Ed Senadella was there, Gina Kine. So whether it be health, whether it be physical plant, whether it be social, emotional, or direct questions they wanted to ask the superintendent. I apologize to Wilbraham Middle School because as hard as I tried with Kate being there with me to try to keep me on task, I sort of ran a little bit behind by the last school, Wilbraham Middle. I had some time with them, and they stayed longer to be with me, but I'm going to reschedule some additional time with them for early next week with Terry and Ed and Gina Khan and myself to be able to spend a little bit more with time with them. Kate was able to take notes from me that day. A lot of the same questions that were asked from one school were similar questions that were asked throughout all 6 schools. So we're going to be able to, and I know Mara has asked for that, a question and answer that we're going to be able to do and give to our faculty and staff. So the commonly asked questions, and here are the answers that we have district-wide. So it was really good. It was good to listen to teachers. It was good to listen to staff and paras. What I did hear is that our staff wants our students to return to school, and they want to make sure that they're safe, the staff is safe, and our students are safe as well. Like I said, Terry Brand and Ed Senadella and Gina and myself were able to provide guidance to a lot of the concerns they had. And there's still some things that we still need to work on, still some things that we need answers to. There are a lot of scenarios that we're coming up with that, you know, we're still going to work through that. It's very interesting. What I saw today a lot of is as principals and directors and superintendents and administrators, when we started this work, a lot of the times we sort of got stuck in those details, right? And we as educators want those details. We're set with our routines and things that take place. So it's a mindset that we're moving forward, that it's not going to look like it's ever looked before. Education is looking completely different. And so it's going to look different. It's not going to be exactly how we had it. We're rule followers and following the rules and regulations. It's not going to be like that. The one thing I do want to say now, though, and truly do, and I heard that today from a lot of our staff, is now more than ever we need to be working together, right? As a school committee, as administration, as our teachers and staff, we need to be working together. We need to be supporting each other. This is a journey. This is unbelievable what we're doing. We've done some serious heavy lifting by doing a hybrid. We could have went remote, put that off to when we needed to, but us doing the hybrid is a heavy lifting that we've done. So for us to be able to, and I'll use that infamous word, pivot to whether we go in remote or whether we go full face-to-face, the heavy lifting's been done. We're getting our kids in that we're going to get a chance to see them, something that we know is really important. But now more than ever, we need to be able to be supportive of each other, because there are going to be things that might not go exactly the way we planned. There might be things that we might not have even thought, but it's now more than ever that we need to be working together as a team, as a family, that we so truthfully say all the time that we want to be a Hampden-Wilbraham Regional School District family. What I can say on my behalf, and this is what I can say, that I will try my very best, and that's the work that I need to be doing, is being a calm in the storm. And my job will be to support our teachers and staff by every action I do and say, and guard against and protect our district. There's a lot of social media out there. There are a lot of things that people are saying, both on all ends of this, right? There are people saying that we're doing it right, they're doing it wrong. Everyone has a million different suggestions on how we should do this and do this differently. This is unbelievable work, and people are working extremely hard to get us in the right spot for our kids. So I just ask that we all just be supportive of each other all along. And I will do my best as the superintendent of schools to make sure that I lead by example as well too. So I thank our staff, I thank our teachers for today. We had some difficult conversations, and that's okay. I need to hear that. I feel more comfortable that they want to have those difficult conversations with me. And I will continue to have those conversations so that we can do well by our district. So it was great to meet with teachers and staff today.
Thank you.
Hey, Al.
Yes.
I just have a couple questions for you.
Please.
So now you said you had Kate work on some questions and answers. When can people see the ones from the email? The reentry email. When will those be posted? I know we've been talking about it for 2 weeks.
Sure.
When will that stuff be posted?
Sure. So I know that's the work that we guys talked about a little bit in curriculum as well as last night. So I know that Tom's working on that. So I will, check in with him to make sure because that should be answered, some of those questions in there.
And how are parents going to find out about buses and what the bus situation is?
Yep. So that's our next thing that we're working on with Lower Pioneer Valley. Aaron Osborne will officially be back starting work in our district on Monday. He was in this week. We're working with Lower Pioneer Valley now. Now that we have the cohorts, that information has been given to the bus company. That's the next level that's coming out for transportation and buses.
Any idea when that'll be released? I mean, I don't even mean to put pressure on you.
No,
I just know
okay.
there's a lot of people trying to figure out if they're going to do pickups, drop-offs.
Yep. So
or if they're going to do the bus.
That's with Lower Pioneer Valley. I will be meeting with them tomorrow. I have a conversation coming up with them, and I'll get some answers on when that will be complete. I don't have the exact answer on transportation. We usually run right till maybe a week before by the time we get transportation. The good news is, based on this calendar, we have still September 10th, but we'll have it well before then.
Thank you.
Yep. I don't have an exact date for you, though, Omar, at this time.
I'm just going to keep asking you. So
I want you to.
Mad.
Yep. You and the teachers all day. Just keep asking me, and I will make sure.
It's important that the parents feel like, they're asking for this information.
Yep.
They're emailing and asking this information. Yep. I just want to make sure that they also, too, feel like they're being heard, not just teachers,
yep.
Not just the professional staff, but also some of the parents.
I agree. So I guess I go back to that statement I said, all of us working together. It's all of us, right? It's school committee. It's myself. It's administration. It's principals. It's our teachers. It's our parents. It's an unbelievable, delicate balance system that we all need to be helping each other out and supporting each other right now, and just giving all of us a chance to just do what's best.
Thank you.
Sure. Two quick questions.
Sure.
Sorry. The first one, it actually may be more for Michelle. So speaking of Lower Pioneer Valley, trying to understand
the cost ramifications of some of the members of Lower Pioneer Valley going remote
and what impact that has on busing, and trying to understand, is that going to increase our costs,
or are they increase our contribution, or are they reducing their costs such that our contribution
remains flat?
So that's something that
we can if we already have it, great. I don't think we need to discuss it tonight, but we can have that for a future meeting. I do want to just understand what that element looks like.
Yeah.
And the second question is, what are some of the big issues that still remain out there? So do we have the proper IT infrastructure in place? Do we have, we're surrounded by computers, which we're able to see? Have we had any distribution? What are those things that we still need to do in order to make September 10th as successful as we can?
Yep. So in answer to your first question, so I know Kate's taking some minutes here, and we'll make sure that Aaron gets that information. One of his first conversations is going to be with Lower Pioneer Valley and the budget, and looking at what expenditures we're going to be able to get back, or what it's going to cost us even more that they're not using transportation. So good question, Patrick. Right. So we're working on the logistics of everything as we're ramping up to September 10th. HVA system is in good spots. We still are working with the roof on Wilbraham Middle School. They got delayed because of storms, so that's on a tight schedule right now. I will continue to keep school committee updated if there should be a change in that. Computers, as you can see, they're going out to our staff. We have Chromebooks. A lot of them are still on order of some of those Chromebooks because of what's taken place in this entire country, and they're stuck at some borders as well too. Commissioner has told us he's working on that. Right now, they're doing the infrastructure taking place so that we can have the bandwidth. They're working on it as we speak. You might have seen even at Stony Hill today, even in the rain, they're pulling those lines. So it's all a timeline. Our goal is to have it all up and ready for September 10th. It's a tight timeline, and our hope is to have it all in place. But I would say those are probably the biggest thing, and making sure that we have that infrastructure in place. Again, I know Bill's here, and I wouldn't put him on the spot that I normally always do put people on the spot, but that is our goal to have that in place. And I'm not being, it's like calling the company all the time and making sure they keep update. The other concern, not to repeat myself, is Wilbraham Middle School roofing, right? If you go by there today, they still have the materials out that need to be out of there in time for us to be able to get those buses that are going to wrap around. You know, John DeRosa gave a great of what it's going to look like for drops off. We got to get that stuff out of there as well too. So those are the tight timelines that I will keep school committee informed of. A lot of other things, a lot of other things is just the day-to-day operations, right? So now that our teachers are in, you happen to walk by the high school today, walking in and seeing the way things are laid out. That's the work that our teachers are doing now. What's the best way for our traffic to be taking place? Hand sanitizer, those things are all being dispersed. Labels and decals are all, teachers and principals are working on it, say, okay, what direction do I want the flow of traffic? So it's all coming together, but it's in the timeline that we're working on.
Okay. All right, so we will go now to our policy second readings. Michelle.
Okay, so first of all, my volume's off, so hopefully I can talk loud enough, my teacher voice. So yesterday we had a policy meeting and we discussed the mask, the face covering policy, and we made adjustments. So if you go to draft 2, you should see what has been added in red and what has been crossed out based on our meeting last night. So probably should take a minute if you haven't had a chance to look through that to see the corrections.
Through the chair.
Yes.
The red is based on your meeting last night. And
Right.
then the yellow was from Terry Brand.
Okay, right,
Those changes.
right.
It's up on our screen right now. It's up on my screen.
Okay, perfect. So people can see it.
That'll be for me.
Give them some time to just look at it.
So how many changes were made since we got this?
It would be what's in red. I believe Terry Brand's, I'm not sure if hers were on the last
No.
one. So her suggestions are in yellow, and the red is definitely from yesterday's meeting.
So
All right, thank you.
through the chair, remember we brought it to the school committee last time, and then Terry gave us some information
And
that
I-
was too late. to
Right,
bring to-
I mentioned it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't actually in the
It
document.
wasn't in the physical copy.
And Terry's in the yellow.
Right.
Terry's
so-
in the highlights
so-
in the yellow.
Right. So hers is
Hers is
the,
incorporated with the red and the yellow.
yes. Just to differentiate, the red are what we did last night, the yellow are from Terry Brand.
From last night, or this morning.
Well, actually, the previous week. It was late.
So one of the questions that came up today when we were, when I was meeting with staff was about face masks, right? In the gator mask and whether we are going to allow gator masks to come in or be used by students, I should say, in our district. Amy Casper, Terry and I have met with her, and we met with her multiple times during the summer. And although it's not, it was acceptable, right? We'd rather the kids have the masks that fit more tightly to them, and that's where we're going to be really pushing. That families will be wearing. That will be part of the communication that goes out to families that have the appropriate mask wearing. But one of the things that did come out from our conversation with the CDC and the Department of Public Health is those masks that have the vents in them, right? So those are the ones that that are unacceptable and that can't be used in our schools.
Okay.
But yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that I gave the concerns that people were talking about today, and we acknowledge that as well too.
Well, I think what we had said was, if I'm correct, that it had to be cover your nose,
Yep.
your chin, and fit snugly against the face.
Yep.
So one of the things that Al's talking about is these masks that have is it called an aerator? There's a word for it.
It's an aerating valve.
And so they have the valve on the down, like either on the left side or the right side. And so the CDC has now come out and said that those should not be used because while they protect the person who wears them,
It doesn't
it
protect.
allows for aerosol
So
spray to come
should
from the person wearing it out, which could then still spread COVID.
So we should maybe have a line in there about that.
I think
Like
you
no
do.
aerators.
I think you do by the. I'm sorry.
Face mask should meet the
You have
following.
to take yourself off mute.
The other thing through the chair, Michelle, last night when I sent the newest policy to Terry, she wrote back a lengthy thing and she referenced the CDC and that she asked that we incorporate that. I mean, it was this big, but I think basically we could just say those types of masks are not allowed.
If you change in the red, if you put face mask should meet the criteria as determined by the Center for Disease Control, including that the mask should reach above the nose, below the chin, completely cover the mouth and nostrils. That way you'll cover whatever CDC guidelines come in and you won't have to rewrite the entire.
Okay, so just write the word including.
And take out the word meat.
Face mask should meet
The following.
criterion as determined by the Center for
Okay,
Disease
should
Control.
meet,
Just
take out following.
Yes, and then take out
Say-
after CDC, including, reach above, it should say including.
Yes, including after CDC.
Including reaching.
Reach above the nose, below the chin, include cover the mouth and nostrils, fit snugly. And as long as you have the criteria determined by the CDC, that should include those aerators, correct?
Yeah. If you want correct grammar, you're going to have to do reaching because you're putting including.
Okay.
Or including that they reach above the nose, just so that it reads.
How about including that they? Is that okay, or do you want
Yeah, that's
including
fine.
reaching?
That's fine to me.
Okay.
So those masks that we're talking about with the aerator on the side, that is the determination by the Center for Disease Control, the CDC.
It's on their,
Right.
it's actually on their
Yep.
website now.
So that would be exactly where that would
Okay.
cover it underneath that.
Okay,
So that's why if you just put following criterion as determined by the CDC, then if they do change criterion in the future,
Great.
you don't need to change the policy.
okay. And I did want to let you know, I had reached out to Tracy Novick, our MASC liaison, to speak about how many readings did we need for a policy to be adopted. And there is, she goes, I believe you have a provision in your policy manual, and we do. It's BGB, and it discusses the fact that in cases of emergency conditions, you can dispense with 3 readings so that you can have 2 readings and then it can become policy. I don't know if you want me to read the exact verbiage. I'd be happy to.
You're on mute.
No, actually, oh, I'm sorry. I am.
Because it
But
shows the speaker is Bill.
I,
So we'll be sketching you.
oh, okay, there we go. Well, it probably will because my volume, I shut it off for the feedback, so I'll talk really loud to Bill's.
I just remember you're good.
Oh, okay. So policy adoption. Adoption of new policies or changing existing policies is solely the responsibility of the school committee. Policies will be adopted and/or amended only by the affirmative vote of a majority of the members of the school committee when such action has been scheduled on the agenda of a regular or special meeting. To permit time for study of all policies or amendments to policies and to provide an opportunity for interested parties to react, proposed policies or amendments will be presented as an agenda item to the committee in the following sequence. 1, information item, distribution with agenda. 2, discussion item, reading of the proposed policy or policies, response from superintendent, report from any advisory committee assigned responsibility in the area, committee discussion and directions for any redrafting. 3, action item, discussion, adoption, or rejection. Amendments to the policy at the action stage will not require repetition of the sequence unless the committee so directs. The school committee may dispense with the above sequence to meet emergency conditions. Policies will be effective upon the date set by the school committee. This date will ensure that affected persons have an opportunity to become familiar with the requirements of the new policy prior to its implementation. Note, except in an emergency situation, policies should not be adopted at the meeting at which they are initially introduced. So we have on our docket the second reading. And we can, by our own policy, accept these and they can become part of our policy. We do have that special dispensation. So I would be asking for, well, first of all, we'll have to have a motion, a second, and then a discussion.
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, awesome. Discussion. Okay, there being none, can we take a vote? So I guess we
don't read it the second time? Do we read it?
I can,
No.
but you don't have to.
Okay. I move for the vote.
Okay, so roll call vote.
Actually, does it?
No?
Does it have to be a roll
It
call
doesn't have
vote
to be, we can
because
just-
everybody's here?
Okay, perfect. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those, I'm sorry, was that unanimous? Okay.
Yep.
It's unanimous, it passes, yay.
This is important that we got this work done. A lot of the questions that were asked today from our teachers and staff was about face masks and making sure that we had this policy and making sure that we had giving this information to parents so they're aware of what the expectations are when their kids return to school.
Okay, awesome.
And we'll put this on our district website, but this will also go out with our notice to parents about cohorting, face masks. So all this will come together now that we've gotten this done tonight.
Okay, and we also have the acceptable use policies, the second reading.
So I know that there were still some areas of green that we still needed to kind of.
I can hear you.
Okay, so let's.
There were some areas in green within the acceptable use policy that needed to be firmed up.
Okay, let me just pull it up.
So is this one not the one pager? This is called.
No,
No, it's the one that's 6 pages long, the 6 pages. I think Yes. acceptable use policy, it's 6 pages long. It's IJNDB. Let me just find the green, I believe it's on the, what, third, fourth page? Let me look. Fourth page.
Is this the work that Mara is working on as well too?
Mhm.
Just question the page numbers, that's all. I just had to give a little levity. It's been a long day.
No page numbers.
It's okay. We probably emails about that FAQ on the website.
You're gonna get flooded with emails on that one.
Okay. So the first part
Touche,
I
Mr.
see
Ganem,
is
touche.
number 7, internet publication policy. This was going to take the place of it?
Correct.
Correct, so we don't need that reference, or?
No, the reference was, no, our policy was IJNDB,
Right,
and it was called the Empowered Digital Use Policy.
yes.
So this would take, we would call this our acceptable use policy. And it would replace what we currently have in our policy manual,
It says IJ.
IJNDB. So it would
Okay.
then become the Hampden-Wilbraham School District Empowered Digital Use Policy,
Okay.
acceptable use policy, AUP.
Okay,
Because I think ours was only like a page and a half.
it was, right, and this is much more robust, there's 6 pages. Okay. The next part was, I see it's,
So sorry, my
I'm sorry.
question here. As Sean reviewed this, Sean continued to identify the gaps, because whatever we have here, what we had talked about previously, we were gonna have Sean review it. Did that occur?
I did not contact him, am I allowed to contact him? I thought it had to be through the chair.
I didn't contact him.
Okay,
So I
We
would
can-
heavily encourage us to make sure that
Okay.
you review every single thing we have here, make sure we're in a fine position.
okay.
Guys, when someone else is talking, just mute your speaker. So it's hearing all kinds of crazy echo for the people listening. I'm sure they're going a little crazy.
So I guess my question is, if you guys are looking at this and don't see any other changes that need to be made, then we could just send this right off to Sean Sweeney now. You know, he's not going to give us an answer, but at least we can put this in his hands.
Yeah.
You know, ASAP.
Right, and I would say to pay special attention to the spots that have the green, correct?
Yes.
I mean,
Right, those are
that's
the
what
only things
those
that-
are the ones that we wanted him to look at.
Okay.
So
Well,
we can,
That and we as a committee should either review it and either agree to it, or if we don't agree, then remove it.
I would have a review the whole document.
No, we will, but I mean, if we decided we wanted to leave that in there, we could leave it in there and then send it to Sean to review. But if we as a committee decide we don't need to have those 2 items in there, we can remove them and then send him that draft with it removed.
I would disagree.
I think we
I
need to
think we
send
need to
it
send the whole document.
and let
and-
him,
And he can see that
Okay.
those are the ones we want removed. And he can weigh in that.
right, I think we have to send it all to him.
So Al, the only question we had was, if somebody had an issue, who would they contact? If there's like an email address or a general phone number or something in
In regards to what,
item K.
Maura? I'm sorry.
I think it's K.
on page 4.
So it's,
Hold on.
it says
One.
avoid responding to spam or phishing attempts that require a user to click on any links or to provide any account information. Note, HWRSD will never ask for a user's account password for any purpose, and users are advised to report any suspicious requests for account information directly to.
So what we have done in the past is obviously a director of technology, which would be Bill Powers. So let's just put the director of technology.
Director of Technology?
Yep.
Okay.
And he's through the main office.
That's correct.
So do we want to just put the main office number?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, main office number.
Can you just put,
So- I would put his email.
would you consider just putting the director of technology and put the office number, don't put his name, because
I
Right,
was only,
that's,
I was
yeah,
only writing the director of technology.
that's what I
because
did too.
If the
Director.
position changes, then you have to keep changing it every
Yep.
time. Yeah,
Yep.
I have that.
So we didn't go with the email because if you're having computer trouble, you
Good
might not be able to.
Yep.
Right,
So
that's
that's
why
why I
we
wasn't
wanted to
sure
have
if
a
you
phone
gave out the
number.
district phone number or if there was an extension, if there was a different helpline. I know that we tried to access the web portal when we were in the conference room and it didn't work. So I don't know if it's just because of my email not being connected to the, or linked through.
So I did contact Bill about that and I said, was it just bad timing or what? And he said that school committee emails weren't set up for that help desk, but he could do it. And that it really was just a glitch from some upgrading or updating that they had just recently done. So it was unfortunate timing.
And that's fine. I just wasn't sure what
Yeah.
and how that expectation worked.
So the next day I opened it up, came right up.
Well, we just wanted to make sure that family members, if they were having issues, could actually get to the help.
So I think it will be important, and Bill and I have talked about that, to start having, Bill coming to a school committee meeting when we have and answer questions. As you can tell, he's in the throes of this right now, getting their computers ready for our teachers and for our students. But once things settle down a little, I think it will be important for you to have a conversation with him. And he's been doing some really nice work for our district, as you can tell. But that will be something that we will definitely be adding to our school committee agenda.
So on page 5, Al,
Yep.
is the return of electronic devices. We need a point of contact for that as well. So I didn't,
What
we
number
can
are
use
you-
the same one.
It's number 13.
We can use the director of technology. I just wanted to make sure that that's now accurate.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, Director of Technology.
And then technology purchases and donations. Do you want that to, we had put director of finance in there because in the past, a lot of donations were done that way.
I think we should, is number 15, page 8? Okay, number 15, I think we should keep the director of finance and operations.
Okay. I'll add in operations.
Just so crystal clear, on number 12 on page 4, the help desk is also going to be.
Yep, director of technology with the main number.
Yeah.
I mean, a common line.
So can I just ask, so we're making the changes right now, correct, Kate?
I'm gonna do them, I have them.
So are you gonna send them to Sean, or you want to go through Cheryl, just so we don't, a week later from now, saying,
I was gonna send it to Kate, and have Kate send it to whoever it's supposed to go to.
okay,
If that's not the right method, I
That's
can
fine,
send it to
that's fine.
Cheryl.
I just don't want to be a week now saying that they wouldn't send it.
Yep,
and-
yep,
and-
yep,
and
no,
all
that's
think someone
fine.
else did.
Nope, that's
Okay.
fine. Get this taken care of.
So
very
the
quickly.
final answer is gonna be that it's gonna go to Cheryl,
Yep.
and Cheryl, you're gonna send it to Sean, or it's going to,
Okay.
I got you,
So I'm sending it to Kate.
thank you,
Okay.
just making.
So now the other policy had to do with the responsible use agreement for all the different grade levels. Now, is there anything that anyone saw that they had a question about, comment about?
This was the same one, I want to make sure.
Yep,
Sean-
it'll go with all the.
Yeah, right, but I don't think there's any green on it. That's why I'm asking. If anyone saw anything that they thought that we needed to mention to Sean.
We're gonna
We're
send
going to send
all.
all,
to him.
yes, yes, all of the agreements, yes, starting with K2.
I just wish 6 to 8 that the signature.
We'll make it.
One page.
I made it fit on.
I was gonna say, I see it on this one, right? It's on 6 to 8, parent, legal guardian signature on the bottom. Oh, okay. Right, it would just be a one-page agreement.
And the 9th grade has to.
Right, because it's a little more involved. They have an extra part of it. Okay, so can we send it like it is? No one has any suggestions, comments?
No, I would
concerns?
send it and I would have him review it.
Okay,
And then if he has
okay.
any suggestions, have it send
Okay.
it back and then we can have policy with that.
Okay, so Maura, if you want to send that to Kate, to send to Sean. Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, there aren't any. And we're meeting next Wednesday for policy at 4:30? 4:30 to 5, it's just a short meeting.
So there was one other acceptable use policy agreement and application form.
It was that the one that was one page?
Yep, the only thing
Okay.
I just wanted to ask before, so we can take the green off, is
Sure.
the permission may be withdrawn at any time by notifying in writing.
Let me just sign that one.
It's the last paragraph in the acceptable use policy and agreement and application. The last sentence says the permission may be withdrawn at any time by notifying in writing. Do we want to say to the superintendent's office?
Oh, I
Or is
see, that's
there,
what I'm
how do we want
doing.
to?
Sorry. I figured I had a lot of my voice. So I'm sorry, were we saying superintendent's office?
I think we
Yes?
should, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so we'll
Person may
leave.
be withdrawn at any time by notifying right to the superintendent's office.
And the other part that was highlighted in green was news. And I think, Cheryl, were you the one that had concerns about news?
Yeah, and I'm not sure why.
Okay,
We'll get back to which.
it's,
I understand that I'll be held accountable for all activities, including but not limited to content of materials sent by mail, news, or any other means using my account privilege.
So we were talking about if there was a newsletter, if it was in a newspaper, if someone was submitting something in a newspaper, or if it, like, that's kind of where we were going, because it's like there's communications within the schools themselves. There's like the superintendent sends out his newsletter. I believe we just you would make the suggestion for news for that reason.
Just to cover everything that has to do with this.
Yeah.
That I'll be held accountable for all
so,
activities.
okay, so we'll leave that in and send it along to Sean. Good, good. Okay.
So I'm sorry, just help me understand the news a little bit more. I'm just trying to read that again. I still will be held accountable for. Okay, just,
Anything that would be constituted as news.
okay.
So if someone was creating a newsletter from their
Yep, fair
classroom,
enough. Okay.
it would just cover that aspect of it, you know.
Just trying, because if Sean will have a question, he'll reach out to
Yep,
Kate and I.
that's
So
fine.
we
I'm just trying to, you know.
we understand that, that's all.
Okay, so that's all good to go
To Sean.
on, Sweeney. All right, awesome. Thank you.
And
Next Wednesday, yes?
Yes.
4:30, ladies? Do we decide on that? 4:30 to 5 and then curriculum at 5?
Curriculum at 5?
4:30, curriculum at 5, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
all righty. So then I think I don't have anything else.
And I believe in the next committee would, next day, Thursday, because that's the first Thursday of the month. And then we'll do the first and second and third Thursday.
First and third,
First and
okay.
If I can
Okay.
ask one quick question here or make a request, could we put the calendar up on the school website as soon as possible? I think this is important information to a lot of families out there, and I don't know if they had a chance to screenshot it or whatever, but that would be really great if we could put that up, Kate. Thank you very much.
Share it, allocate it so people can, if anyone's watching.
They could take a screenshot of it.
Oh,
If you
so
put
you
it
mean
up-
put it up right now, Sean?
I think you need to put it up.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
put it-
up.
I would say
Well, you could put it up
put it up
now.
on the website
Good.
as soon as possible, but if we can maybe put it up there again so people can maybe, if
Right,
they
they
need to
can
take a quick
screenshot
screenshot of it.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know how good it's going to be with someone taking a screenshot if it's on a phone or whatever, but you know, and if we can get it on the website, when do you think you can have it on the website, Kate?
I can do it this evening.
Oh, in her spare
Nice.
time. Poor
Perfect.
thing.
This evening.
Okay.
All righty.
You know what?
Well, I think, Kate, that we can just also put that right and connect that and send that out as well too. So I can get that out tomorrow as well, for families. We can just take a picture of that and put that on Connect That.
You good?
Yes, I am
It's a
good.
PDF.
I'm sorry, I am good.
Great. So we did have a curriculum subcommittee meeting, and we are working through one policy and one addendum that's new. Just looking to see if it matches what we're doing, and if it's not, we're tweaking it. At this point, we're not ready to bring it to anybody yet, but we had a lot of questions on how our remote learning will work with the kind of computers we're getting and the fact that we have older computers and newer computers and Chromebooks and all kinds of things. So Bill Powers will be coming to our next curriculum meeting to really dive deep into that for us.
Can we make sure we invite Gina Roy to that so that we can also hear from the special ed?
Yes, you mentioned that. Thank you for reminding me.
So there's some coverage for the special ed side of things, please.
So it's a good thing we're starting at 5 because this might go to 6:30 then with two guests.
And I also know that they'll have, we can invite as well too, the remote teachers work today unbelievably and have that work done, so we can bring that to you guys as well too. They did a document that laid out, that was given to principals, that I think will be important to vet through you guys first, so we'll have that. And that's next Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes.
What time?
Well, right after the
Policy will be 4:30 to 5.
Yeah, I think there'll be some good understanding and clarification for you guys when they present with the work they've been doing and the final things they did today, so that will be important.
All right, so we do have need of executive session for tonight. So if I could have a executive session pursuant to Mass General Law 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Unit A teachers and Unit C paraprofessionals. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the committee and the chair so declares, and pursuant to Mass General Law C-30A, Section 21A-7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law, specifically Mass General Law 214, Section 1B, Mass Student Records Law, Mass General Law C-71, Section 34D, Mass Student Records Regulations 603 CMR 23, etc., and Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, 20 USC Section 1232G and 34 CFR Part 99 regarding student transfer requests. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Just remind everyone.
Roll call vote.
Right.
Dr. Von Tempe.
We're coming back in only to adjourn the
Adjourn.
regular meeting.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we will only come back to adjourn the regular meeting.
Aye.
Mrs. Boudreau?
Aye.
Mrs. Immersion?
Aye.
Mr. Kennedy?
Aye.
Mr. Kiernan?
Aye.
Ms. Ryan?
Aye.
Me? Aye. We are adjourned.
So.
In executive session.
It takes us a while to make sure that it gets out.
Yeah.
So we don't have.
We don't have to continue this meeting.
End the meeting. Okay.
And right, leave it. Right.
No, sorry, we are returning, so we do need to keep it.
Oh, you're right.
So can't we go back into this